Okay, I don't have a lot of time probably to film this. Um, I wrote down some of the stuff I wanted to talk about. I also have a cold, um, so I might cough in the midst of this. I got a cold a few days ago, which I try not to. But I probably won't be able to take time to edit it out. A couple of things is, a couple of things. I really don't want people to hack my phone. I really do not want people to hack my phone. I don't want that. I mean, I never wanted people to hack my phone. I always felt kind of immediately there was probably nothing I was going to be able to do about it once I realized it was happening, but I don't want people to hack my phone. And I don't know, as far as people who sometimes feel like, yeah, I can't, there's only so much I can do about the background or wherever it is that I'm able to film anything. Because I don't have a place to live, right? So I can't really choose it. I can't make it do anything, and I only have so much time. Um, yeah, I mean, as soon as I realized, that was a few years ago, that probably people were hacking my phone, I was just thought, there's nothing that I'm never gonna be able to do anything about this. I can't stop this. Um, Lots and lots and lots and lots of people hack my phone, but I really do not want people to hack my phone. Um, and I don't know, I mean, as far as people who sometimes feel like they have a positive feeling about me, and it's not just all, not just all um, hostile in some way. I don't know if you hacking my phone makes you feel close to me, but I don't feel close to you. And you doing that to me does not make me feel positive things about you. It all it makes me do is want more distance from you. That's it. And that really is true. It's a really, 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 really screwed up situation, and I just don't want my privacy invaded that way. Um, so that's how I feel about that. I know a lot of people are doing it. A lot of people. It's a really terrible way to have to live. I do not want that to happen to me. I don't know what's going to make it stop. Um, but that's how I feel about it. As far as another thing I want to talk about today, Robert Pattinson is interesting. Sometimes I kind of feel like I want to know what's happening with that situation. There was a lot going on over the summer. I was talking about him a lot. His girlfriend a lot. There was just kind of a lot going on over the summer about that. And so I continue to kind of just be sort of curious about what's happening. And I looked him up today, and I guess I have a few questions. First of all, something that's not a question for me is I don't want to date a famous person. Really don't want to date a famous person. So I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to say. Pictograms, I think, went out with hieroglyphics, that kind of thing. It's just kind of silly. All this stuff is kind of silly, and it's not how I want to be interacting with people, really. I mean, but in addition to that, I have a couple other things to say. I just don't want to date a famous person. Do not want to date a famous person. Um, and don't want to date someone who was mean to me. Don't want to date someone who is mean to me. I just don't want to do that. And in addition to just like, I don't need to be in competition with other women for anything. I don't like that stuff. I never did like that stuff. I was never one of those women who liked to be in competition with other women or had any concern in a relationship other than how the guy felt about me and how I felt about him. And it didn't, most of the time did not turn out to be the way I wanted it to be. But at no time in my life have I ever been one of those people who thinks about relationships that way. Like there's me, there's some other girls, lots of other girls. I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna be. I hate that. Hate the entire dynamic, and I do not like people trying to force me into it either. It has no interest for me whatsoever. Never has, never will. It's been kind of a rough transition over the past few years. Losing my beauty has been kind of a painful thing for me. But I think I've adjusted pretty well. I mean, I know that I look all right for my age. And it was never, even when I was at my most beautiful, it was never, I never liked people who were only interested in me for that reason. And I was never interested in other people only for that reason. I mean, if you were, beautiful and just not a nice person or, not intelligent or, whatever it was, I just had no interest in you. I just didn't, it's just that you had to have something else happening. I was always like that, even at my worst, even when I was, had the most problems myself. I was never interested in people who, just because they were good looking, never. Yeah, and so I guess I have a question too, which is just ask the question at Robert Pattinson. I wonder if you've thought about whether or not you're getting dependent on your social media. I mean, I guess, I mean, it's just kind of a question. You have these, posts at Instagram. You seem to have your favorite caption for what you put at the top of them. Is a caption that that I'm sure that I'm not going to like. Gets you attention from the conglomerate, lets you express your hostility towards me for whatever reason you have that, whatever it is you've made yourself believe with all, with all the rest of the bullies, people who bully me. Plus, it also gets you some sort of connection with your fans, right? I'm just curious about that because it's like, it's almost, they used to have, what they have those, they had like mall signings, right? Celebrities, before they had social media, they had like celebrities could set things up to like go to a mall and like sign things and like, here's my picture, or take a picture with a fan, or you get, your autograph, here's all these pictures of me, and I'll autograph them with your name, and like, oh my God, and it's, I mean, it's just, but now it's like you can do it all online. And I wonder if you have thought about that. I wonder if you have actually paid attention to how you feel during those times during the day, and when you just, maybe you feel like you have nothing to do and you just like, like, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to get attention from my fans. I'm going to give them a chance to get, personalized attention from, me, Robert Pattinson. I'm asking you the question because you're, sorry, excuse me, you're getting pretty close to 30 if you're not 30 already. Sorry. Sorry, excuse me. And none of that stuff is ever really all that great in the first place. But I wonder if you thought about how you feel before you do something like that. If you're sitting there, if you're bored, if you're mad, if you have a, feeling of loneliness, or you just feel insecure, or someone has something critical to you, God, who that might be in your, very, very, very rich life. I don't know. Rich people just don't get criticized by the people around them as much as poor people do. When you're poor, you're just people are just, abusing you all the time. But when you're rich, you can do a lot of things and that are wrong, and no one's going to say anything to you because you're rich. That really is true. I don't know if you or any of the other very rich people have noticed that about my life. You need to understand that a lot of what I'm going through is, at least a substantial amount of what I'm going through is happening not even because of you. Not even because I'm female, not even because stuff that, the conglomerate has done to me that, I think is bad and a lot of the conglomerate doesn't, but literally just because I am poor. It's not all about not all of it is about the other stuff that I talk about. It is literally being poor sets you up to be abused by a lot of people every day. That really is the way it is. And if you have never been poor or never been as poor as I am now, you probably don't know that. You probably don't realize, people have no problem being degraded to poor people. Even poor people have no problem being degraded to poor people. It is a totally different way of life. But yeah, you might want to think about that. You might want to think about whether you're getting dependent on kind of that sort of pseudo connection that you have with all your adoring fans. And I'm curious about that. I wonder if you have perhaps not learned anything from the decades of, male celebrities, and female celebrities too, before you, who lived off that emotionally for years and years of their life. And then at 40, 50, for the rest of their lives, they could never really actually develop a relationship with another person. You might want to think about that. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people that you could, good looking people like you, some of them even talented, many of them even intelligent, but they get, it's like emotional junk food. And you're not building the skills to have a relationship, and you're not learning how to do that. You're just depending on depending on their admiration. Just mentioning it, you might want to think about that. Also, we seem to be developing sort of a trend, and I want to try to address it in a way that's not just some kind of joke. People are going to make a joke about it. It's not very nice. I think maybe over time, your girlfriends notice that I'm nicer to them than you are. I'm nicer. I'm just nicer. I don't always say the nicest things. When they're mean to me, I get mad and just say mean things back and that kind of thing. There's a lot of heightened tension around all of it too. Because of some of the stuff that I've gone through, the way the conglomerate treats me, and all the others, and all the stuff that I'm going through, and the way the conglomerate likes to threaten me and that kind of thing, and all the excuses that it makes. So that makes it hard. So there's a lot. It gets very. Things get very tense, right? And people don't always say the nicest things when they're tense. And it's out there in front of the world for everyone to see. Everyone's talking about it. Media's talking about it. It's turning into all this stuff. For me, it can be life threatening. What the media is saying about me can kind of cause things to get kind of worse for me for a while. Just directly the way what I'm dealing with all the time. But I think over months or years, they notice that I think of them as human beings, whether or not they have thought about it that way, when they're trying to think about what it is that they're feeling. when they're reading what I'm writing, or whatever it is, or listening to what I'm saying, you know, I think of them, even if I'm talking about something else, you know, I think of them as human beings. I think of myself as a human being. I'm female. You probably don't think of us that way. You know, I think you probably treat them in person, or have treated them in person, a lot the way that you treat me at a distance, you know, disrespectful, nice to them only when you feel like it, appreciative of them only when you feel like it. You know, I mean, you're damaged by your profession. You're damaged by what's been happening. You're damaged by the conglomerate. You are turning into someone who does not know how to relate to women in a normal way, or a healthy way. You know, normal is kind of a question at this point. The conglomerate is really doing a lot to ruin women's lives, to make them second-class citizens, you know, in a series. I'm trying not to film like right up my nose. I don't know, I'm just trying, you know, I especially when I start talking about something and I'm thinking about it a lot, sometimes I don't pay attention to what I'm doing with the camera. But yeah, you know, when I think, like, I kind of want to think about that, especially when people are young. Most people, when they're young, look for other people to look up to, whether or not they want to admit it, they do that. And I think that there are older people who might even not have meant to, but end up kind of taking advantage of that. You know, end up taking advantage of the admiration, end up taking advantage of the attachment. Especially when you're young, it can be difficult to sort out what you're feeling. And to try to kind of put things in the right categories. I mean, you can have a lot of feelings about someone. It doesn't have to be a sexual attachment. And I think there's, you know, the world has since the world began, you've had older people kind of taking advantage of the attachment, that they just kind of the emotional attachment of younger people. I mean, if you know, like I don't know, like puppies, kittens. You know, one of the reasons that people eternally love them is that they're always running up to everybody. You know, they have like just feelings, right? They just have feelings and they're running up to everybody, that kind of thing. And they're very endearing for that reason, but they're also vulnerable for that reason, right? So it's important. And of course they're going to love the people who are nicest to them, who care about them the most, you know, that kind of thing. And I think it can be kind of tough for me sometimes, because I've tended to be a pretty insightful person most of my life. And sometimes that's been difficult for me and difficult for other people, because they feel almost instantly, like I really know them, and I'm really close to them. And it's not that I don't care. It's just that my grandparents were social workers. You know, it's just kind of a habit. It's just kind of a habit to get to the heart of what people are thinking and feeling. It's not, and it doesn't mean that I don't care about them. It just if you're not used to it, you know, it can feel like a kind of intimacy that it isn't really. And of course, these people are individuals to me. I've noticed them. I paid attention to them. I've interacted with them. So yeah, I mean, there's something there that is personal. But you know, I mean, I'm here. I'm in Boston. I'm trying to live my life. I'm doing stuff. I've been through a lot. We've all been through a lot. The distance is important for me, and also not taking advantage of people is really important to me. So I think I feel like I'm speaking to what I wanted to talk about today, although I'm going to have to probably maybe shut this video off, because I think I can only upload to 15 minutes on YouTube, so I better start another video.